Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Blake Sloan here. Brand new, exciting show. Tons of great stuff in with the legendary Rick Robertson this weekend for Dave. And we just got a ton of great stuff we'll talk about and cover just to do one thing, to get you in the know regarding real estate, help you make better decisions regarding real estate, and just kind of know what's happening right now in a very, very fast-paced marketplace. And so we have the brand new micro market numbers in for anyone that missed, basically the first time we have it this month. That's what's going on in my zip code, what's happening in my neighborhood. And there's a big, big difference in some areas of the beach, right? Some areas are up tremendously, some areas are down. And so we'll talk about and look who stacked up where based on the overall difference from the same time last year. We also have the macro market for anyone that missed last week's show. And that's kind of what's happening overall, the entire Grand Strand as a whole, all the way from Southern North Carolina, all the way down past Georgetown, into Andrews, and obviously into Aner, Conway, Loris, all those areas combined. And so we'll break all that down for you. Some interesting news. The great news is sales are up, recovering pretty well in that, which is awesome. Also, we have a lot of different news in regards to interest rates. We just last week, thankfully, a 5-month low. It bumped back up this week and then back down again this week. And so that put a little extra shot in the arm, which is great news for us over here regarding real estate. Some overall interesting stories. We'll talk about some success stories. We're able to help get people $50,000 more dollars than they thought they'd get for their house, which is awesome. We're also seeing some horror stories. We actually had a buyer we represented, and we got $25,000 off the price simply because the listing agent did not know what they were doing. We're able to basically dispute an appraisal that came back a little bit short. And so we'll talk about how that can hinder you right now in the very, very, very fast-paced market. And also, one of the coolest things we'll talk about, Myrtle Beach just recently named one of the number one fastest growing destination in the country. And we'll talk about how we stacked up there as well.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Dave Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment. But all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little bit about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and what a quick overview of how they work.
Yes, I made a promise to cover this every show. Like I said, we've done this show about 10 years now, and the same problem rings true. And it's so wild for me to watch and see how consumers operate when they're dealing with their largest asset. And they make this huge mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. And it could not be further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, if you're charged with a crime you did not commit, the last thing you want is just a part-time attorney who may or may not have tried any cases like that or done an average of 3 cases the previous year, right? You want somebody who's the absolute best, most aggressive, and that's what you deserve in your largest, asset. But what we found is, and really kind of the biggest shocking thing we run into is that some people, most consumers, spend more time picking out their next vacuum cleaner than they do their next real estate agent. And so it does matter who you use. And here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. Not your wall colors, not the grass quality. It has to do with how the agent actually executes. And so the reason that is in selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. Each one's handled correctly. Guess what it does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, what that does is it costs you your hard-earned equity, you leave money on the table, or in many cases, it does not sell. And so that's what the whole difference is. And it could be anything from what we've noticed lately, the quality of the photos, right? Is it photos, your first showing happens online. What's the quality like? Here's the second part, the order of the photos. One of the biggest mistakes we see is the first 8 photos are all the exterior of the house. They do not understand the buyer psychology, where pictures 2, 3, and 4 have to sell them and looking at the rest of the photos. So that they obviously go through all of them and they book a showing for your house. But here's the main thing we also see. Other variables like, does your agent answer the phone? Do they actually call people back when they're trying to buy your house? How long does it take them to respond to web leads online? And all these items that need to be executed in getting that home sold for the most amount of money. And so what we did is we identified a massive problem. We say, look, there's got to be a better way, because how most agents operate is the 3 Ps. 1, they promise the world to get listing. 2, they put it into MLS in 3 days, pray that someone else brings a buyer to them. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get another listing so they can make more money and stay in the business. And so what we did is identify a system and say, look, how can we have something that's proven and repeatable and creates maximum leverage at every single point? We call that stacking the dominoes. So we have a system and processes with both people and technology that create basically a gap at point one, a gap point two. And you stack those up over 100 different times, it creates a massive gap between us and the competition. For you, the client gets a massive competitive advantage. The system we designed, right, it's called the Guaranteed Sold System, only proven system, sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, right, for buyers out there, you also need a system and a process that gives you an advantage. For us, called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System, gives priority access to foreclosures, distressed sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, all the way through the closing table. And here's the thing, if I just had to simplify this, I mentioned this last week on the show, and it's just something I've been talking about for years, but really makes a big difference, is like anybody can sell a house right now, right? Anybody can. You can sell a house and you can get it sold, no problem. I get that a lot. But the difference is, are you selling that house for the most amount of money, right? And so it makes a big difference. And the best analogy I've come up with lately is just taking a classic mint condition Corvette, right? Let's say it's, very, very high price, a few $100,000 based on the rareness and the quality of it. You can take that classic Corvette and you can sell it probably right here in Myrtle Beach on 501 at the Walmart parking lot, right? But in reality, does that mean you're going to get most amount of money for it? Because you can sell it today. But the difference in that classic Corvette is you need the right exposure to the right people who will pay a premium for that Corvette. And so it's the same exact thing where if you take the same Corvette, put in every Corvette enthusiast website, every Corvette enthusiast magazine, every Corvette enthusiast group online, and potentially, right, an online and a virtual type auction effect like you see in a place like all these different ones, what's the Meacham's auction, right? You get more qualified buyers who are focused on that. And what they do is they drive the price up. And so it's the same exact thing that we do with the exposure of your house, getting national and international buyers looking at it who are willing to pay a premium for your home. And that's how you drive the price up and get more money for it. We designed a system. We talked about the Guaranteed Sold System does that. The last thing you want and that you deserve is to have your house, right, your sanctuary, put out into the Walmart parking lot and just get what somebody's going to give you for it. And so if you want to know more about that, reach out, call us. We're here hustling the office, 843-808-SOLD.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. That's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. It's so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. Now, if you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
As a real estate investor, I look for sharp agents who really know their market. Agents who do so much business that they can find me the right investor property and sell it for the most money without trouble. When I need real estate advice in Myrtle Beach, I call Blake Sloan. His innovative marketing attracts hundreds of buyers every month, which creates more demand for your home, selling it faster. Come on, he guarantees to sell it on your timeline or he'll buy it. Call the agent I trust, Blake Sloan, and avoid the drama.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Tons of great info we'll get to. One of the most exciting parts, I guess, of the month when we do our show here, and it has to do with the micro market, right? What's happening in my zip code? That's the question I get the most. Is like, what's happening in my area? And so this is part of the month. We're able to get that data, share that with you all, and so you can kind of know, hey, look, how's my area performing? Because different areas, right? Our whole Grand Strand is dynamic based on where development's happening, where people are buying. They usually start at the ocean and kind of move further inland. And so we'll talk about that really quick, just kind of a real-time update. So all these numbers we talk about previous months and zip codes are all kind of the rear view mirror, right? So that's what's happened in terms of closings last month. But ultimately, if you think about the sales cycle of real estate, they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior. And so in some cases, that data's, somebody who went under contract 90 days ago. And so I want to talk about two types. what's happening out the front windshield, what's having the rear view mirror. And so really quick, from a windshield standpoint, ever since they had the lockdown with COVID-19, we started tracking a new metric. I just kind of came up with it because it helped me have a pulse of what's happening. And that number was how many properties are going under contract every 7 days. And so that's across the whole Grand Strand, the entire market. When we got to the lockdown, was about 330, 340 properties a week going under contract, which is very, very bad, right? Then it went up to 500 and 600 and 700, and it peaked out about 800 and 900 earlier this year. High 800s consistently each week, which meaning about 900 properties per week in terms of condos, homes, everything would go under contract. And so we started watching that literally every morning in my office, and we were hovering about 750 to 760 in the last month. In the past few weeks, it's dropped down. It dropped down, unfortunately, last week in the low 580s, 590s, which is 580 properties per week. This week is back up to 662 properties in the last 7 days. But here's the thing. We're significantly below what the peak was at 800 and 900 per week. And so what's that mean? It means there's a little bit of softening. There's two reasons for that. One, there's just less inventory overall, right? There has been, at least in the past. And also a little bit of buyer fatigue out there. And so we're going to watch and see what happens. But it is a little interesting to watch that drop down a lot, where some people are just getting priced out of the market. They're backing out the market. And so we'll watch and see what happens. Some of that had to do with the spike in interest rates a little bit a few weeks ago. The other thing that's interesting to watch is we have seen a spike in inventory. We've been averaging about 370, 380 properties at any one time that are single-family homes on the market for sale in Horry County. Why is that? That's just the simplest way to track it. It's kind of what the majority of properties are. And so we're actually up to almost a new record. Right now, 487 properties on the market, a new record in terms of the last 6 months, so to speak. So since we've been tracking this number. And so what that means is we've seen a spike of about 100 properties on the market, which is good, which means there's some more options out there. But it could also mean a little bit of softening in terms of future numbers. I talked to a great friend this past week in Charleston, and they saw the same exact thing there too, a little spike in numbers. And a few friends of mine across the country have seen that. Now, some of that could be seasonal inventory, right? Could be people are putting their house in the market in the summertime. So that's something to watch overall as well. Really quick, also jump into the overall macro market for anyone that missed last week's show. Sales back up again, which is awesome. So 782 home sales last month, which is great. A 40.6% increase from the same month last year, which is awesome. It did recover from a dip we had in May. So that's great, great news overall. Sales price overall in general, median sales price up 28.6% from the same time last year at $315,000. Which is awesome. And the average sale price just hit a new record, which is great, $398,256, up 20.9% from the same month last year. One thing that's driving this right now is an inventory crisis, where it's just tied pretty much almost where the all-time low was. It was 0.9 months inventory. Right now it's at 1.1 months inventory. It's 70.3% decrease from the same month last year. And so what that means is there's just not a lot of houses for sale. That's where that buyer fatigue comes from. And so if you're thinking about selling, it is still currently a super seller's market. And so that's something you want to watch and see in terms of what's happening. Buyer traffic is also up, which is great. Buyer traffic's up 65.5% from the same time last year. It did drop down a little bit, though, from May. So May, we're getting 10.7 showings per listing. Right now, 10.1 showings per listing. And you're just seeing a slight bit less buyers looking. And so I was telling my team this past week, you're seeing a little bit of this year's market being front loaded, right? Meaning, so there's a lot of pain first, second quarter of this year. They're moving from up north. And you were seeing that happen when there were still lockdowns. And so it really kind of shifted our seasonality a little bit. But the good news is people are waking back up, right? They're realizing it's safe to sell their home. They're going back out and starting life again. And so that's just something to consider. If you're thinking about selling, take advantage of the summer marketplace here. The last thing you want to do is start trying to make a move late third quarter into fourth quarter when things do slow down, at least in the years past. And so if you want to know more about that and your data, reach out to me in my office, 843-808-SOLD. Really quick, I'm going to dig into by zip codes, hit a few key numbers. Bear with me because it does obviously take a little bit of talking straight through, but this is the part I get the most engagement on, the most questions about. Looking at Myrtle Beach, which is the main kind of driver, 29572 and 29577 zip codes. The great news is closed sales year to date up 22.9%, which is awesome. Last month, though, is flat. Down 1.0%. So 2020 in June, there were 99 closings. This year, there are 98 closings. And so that is something we'll keep watching. Prices, though, still up up 15.3% last month in the city of Myrtle Beach, up to 368,750, which is awesome. Year to date's up 9.9% at 362,683. Condos in Myrtle Beach also up 74% last month alone. And here's a crazy number. Year to date, condos in the city of Myrtle Beach up 90.1%, which is awesome. That is skewed a little bit because there were some lockdowns last year that did not allow us to get into condos at all. But the good news is year-to-date pricing for condos up 19.2% at 155, which is great. North Myrtle Beach, they're kicking butt too. Year-to-date up 50.8% in terms of sales. Last month, sales North Myrtle Beach was up 13.5%. Prices, though, last month saw a huge jump in North Myrtle Beach, up 39.6%. So last year in 2020 in June, $315,950. Right now, $441,220. And so if you're in North Myrtle Beach, you got a lot more equity than a lot of people do, and most people realize they even have. Year to date, up 27.8% from $345 to $441, which is awesome. Into Little River. Little River sales doubled this year versus last year, 100% increase. So last year there were 64. This past June, 128. We're seeing a lot of people move into that area as inventory has dried up, towards the Myrtle Beach area. The great news is prices also up 20.1% from $253 to $304. Year to date is up 10.6%, up at $277 for Little River, which is awesome. Surfside Beach, where I grew up, where my mom still lives, my stepdad there, closed sales up 63.8% last month alone, which is awesome. Year to date of 63.5% in terms of sales. Pricing, though, last month saw a huge jump in Surfside Beach, up 27.1% from $225 last year to $285,950 this year, which is crazy. And that's something that's interesting to see just from a demand standpoint. Make sure that you get the most amount of money. My mom said she had a couple people come knock on the door there looking to buy. And if you have that happen, just know you can probably get a lot more money for your property on the open market. Why is that? Because you're going to see people who will bid against each other, right, and drive that price up. A lot of times you'll see some aggressive type investors and people that may just try to make you an offer on that door knocking. So definitely make sure that you give a chance to have it on the open market if you're thinking about that as well. Carolina Forest crushing it, up 51.9% this year versus last year, up to $679 from $447 last year. Last month, Carolina Forest up 34.8%. Median price up 12.0% last month. Median price right now at Carolina Forest, $349,450, which is awesome. Median price up 8.8% year to date at $326,500. Socastee, right? They had a slight decline in sales last month from 145 to 117. That has to do with inventory. Inventory in Socastee is down 68.0%. The good news is prices are still up from 230 all the way up to 265, which is a 14.9% increase so far this year, which is great, great, great news. Into Garden City in Myrtle's Inlet, closed sales last month up 20%. From 105 to 126. Year to date, though, Myrtle's in the Garden City is up 39.7%, a massive jump in terms of the amount of homes sold. Price is also up 25.3% last month from 270 up to 339. Once again, a lot of people have a lot more equity than they think to do. And even let's say it's a 339, you can probably push that number right now, drive the price up and sell it for more if it's marketed right, which makes a big, big difference. Pawleys Island, Litchfield, 90.5% increase in homes sold in June, this past, obviously June versus June, which is great. Year to date up 57.6%. Prices in Pawleys Island up 9.8% last month from 382 to 419,995. And inventory in Pawleys Island, Litchfield's down 58%. Georgetown, big jump, up 45.9% year to date in terms of sales. Prices are up 14.3%. And last year is Aner. Aner, a 300% increase in sales June versus June. A little bit less data there. Year to date, Aner sales are up 80.6%, one of the hottest areas overall in terms of sales. Prices stay pretty much a little bit different. They dropped 4.2% from 227,900 to 218,250. That, in my opinion, just has to do with the dynamic types of properties. We sold some horse properties out there. Some are small lots. It just depends on what you have. It's a little more dynamic because a lot of different types of properties. But the bottom line is make sure you get a human valuation right now. The market's super hot. Anything you see online is probably not going to be accurate because you can push higher than that based on what buyers want to pay right now. So if you want to know more, you want a human, human valuation, call my office. More than happy to help. No pressure at all. 843-808-SOLD. Last piece here is interest rates. Great news. Past couple weeks here, we had a 5-month low last week, and that right now we're at 3.04%, which is awesome. Last week is 3.03. A 15-year fixed rate, 2.50. A 30-year FHA right now, 2.58%, which is awesome. You have jumbo loan right now, 3.10%, and a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage right now is 2.71%. So bottom line is money's cheap, right? If you're thinking about selling, hop back in while buyers are going to get off the fence. If you're thinking about buying or refinancing, take advantage of this 5-month low recently. If you want to know more, reach out and call us. We'll take a quick break. Come right back. Oh. Yep. Yep.
Hey, if you were in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, you generate multiple offers and sell your home for most
Yeah, I'm naturally like that, but obviously I'm a little tired today. Yeah, I'm a little crazy like that. I got to slow it down. Yeah, I'll take it.
When I'm moving on, won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with those who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent
have about
who makes
6.5
selling your home
minutes before we close.
Perfect.
An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why at Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
All right, it's now time for the hot buyers alert, and these are hot. Blake and his team are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area from $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're thinking of selling, and please contact us immediately at 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Weekly buyer lead update. Blake showed me his current count of buyers who are signed up and actively searching for homes daily on his website. 62,588 active home buyers.
Yes, and that's crazy. Like real people, username, password, account. Obviously, it's important to show that, and we track that every week for anyone that's been listening to the show for a while, because it makes a difference, right? We're putting our money where our mouth is. Hey, look, these are real people that we've invested in. I get the question all the time, like, why should we call you and list our house with you versus anyone else? And the reality is, we outspend the agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, literally, right? 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. How we're able to do that is the business model that we have is a lot more innovative in a way. It allows us to be able to captivate and work with buyers from all over, because we have 20 buyers experts and buyers agents on our team, inside sales, outside sales, a lot more systematic than one person trying to juggle all the balls like how most agents operate, where if I was a single agent at 62,588 buyers, guess what? I'd be out of business because you can't keep up with that amount of people. But our team, right, is able to serve that, and we're able to take those buyers we have already, we call them buyers in waiting, match them up to your house instantly. We have technology that'll score them based on their search patterns and do that. Right now on the site, Crystal Shiro from Ottawa, Ontario, 81 visits on the site so far, 102 properties. She's looking right now as we speak. Victoria from Myrtle's Inlet's on the site, 4 visits, brand new person here. We got Tommy from Blythewood. I got Renee from Poughkeepsie, New York. I got Lydia from Morgantown, West Virginia. I got Carlton from San Jose, California. We got AJ from New York, New York. I got Minneapolis, Minnesota. The point here is we have a national, international reach. I also got Pam here from Tucson, Arizona. And so we spend massive amounts of money online. And so it's a huge advantage for you where we're able to be able to capture these buyers, funnel them to your property, drive up the price, and that's how we get a lot more success than everyone else. If you want to know more about that, you owe it to yourself to at least see it. We sit down and show you real time the actual live people, and it blows everyone's minds, even other realtors. who are in the business that are coming down here or listing their house. So very, very important. Really quick, 2 minutes left. Amazing success stories. Again, our team's been absolutely burning at both ends of this market. Big shout out to Lewis and Ruth. They owned a house in Loris. Their future plans were to move out the area. They recognize the real estate market's super hot right now. Want to take advantage of getting absolute most amount of money possible by selling now versus opposing to wait till the market shifts and actually miss out. Thankfully, Lewis and Ruth were referred to us by an amazing radio listener who's also a past client. We met with them, showed them how we get them absolute top dollar for their home, which was way more than they thought. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched Gold Marketing Blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough. Within days, had massive traffic. Check this out. Full price cash offer for $50,000 more than they originally thought they'd get for their home. So by calling us, right, versus selling themselves, they have $50,000 more in their pocket, which is a massive amount of money right there. Also, John and his family, they lived in Myrtle Beach, but recently given some land from their family. John decided it's time for them to build a new home in that family land. Thankfully heard about us here from friends around town, heard the success stories on the radio, knew exactly who to call. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our Global Marketing Blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough. Within 2 days, had a virtual auction effect, 8 offers we got on the property. He chose to go with the one that's $15,000 above asking price and $35,000 more than he originally thought his house was worth. And so these are just a few of the success stories. What, we got like a minute left or so? Probably so. All right, so we'll just kind of hurry up there. And that, yes, all right. So whatever it is, minute and a half. The reality is, if you're thinking about selling, be one of our success stories. I think right now it's so much more volatile than ever. I'm watching so many mistakes being made. We just had one. We represent the buyer. A brand new agent had the seller $25,000 below the appraisal came. They just gave in and gave the property to our buyer for $25,000. Where if you had the experience, you could be able to fight that overall. Call 843-808-SOLD. Will help you out for sure. Let's keep going. So, other thing too, right? Obviously, if you don't want to be a horror story, we're also looking to add to our team. Any agents out there, anybody wants to give a high level, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. You can also go to blakesloan.com for all of our tools and to watch all of our seller testimonials online. You can hear from their own mouth exactly what they're thinking there.